We're live. Hot Tech Plus live YouTube channel is back on the air, and we're excited about tonight's broadcast because we have a couple of real important announcements to make. First and foremost, we're going to introduce Brad Hull to the team. He's the newest member, former teacher in Jeffco school system in Colorado, and he has a tremendous amount of talent to offer our team. So wanted to give him a chance to share a little bit about his program in the past and also what he's going to add to Hot Tech Plus as we move forward. And the second large announcement is the new 4.0 Hot Tech Plus platform. We're pretty excited about this. We've been working hard over the past summer and fall to prepare this for schools. Considering the pandemic, I think it's going to be a real asset to many teachers throughout the country. So we wanted to share a little bit more about that. And also, as always, Chris Meckelberg from 5 Star PE is with us again tonight. His guidance and perseverance through all this, the process of developing the software has been really an asset to our company. You know, he's done a lot of testing as well as Brad. And then the other side of the Hull team, which is not with us tonight, is Brian, teacher in Denver. And he's also been very, very influential in the testing of our product. As you know, we want to make sure that whatever we get out there is working correctly, and without the testing that Brad and Brian and Chris have done, wouldn't have been possible. So I'm gonna start with Brad tonight and give him a chance to talk a little bit about his experiences as a teacher over the past, what's it been, 15 years, Brad?
10 years.
10 years. Okay, I'm making you older than you really are. So Brad's going to share a little bit about his teaching experiences and actually how he used Hot Tech Plus and the Hot Rate in his program. So, Brad, so could you share a little bit about your experiences in the past?
Yeah, sure. First and foremost, I definitely want to thank Doug Davis, Corey Mortensen, and Rich Butterworth for willing to take me on the Hot Tech Plus team. It was very sincere for them to do that, and I really appreciate that. So a little bit about me. I taught 10 years of physical education in Denver, Colorado, all at the middle school level and all at Title I schools. I like to describe myself as a real go-getter. I'm a big fan of trying to get as many funds as possible so I could have given my students the best PE experience as possible. My last 5 years at the school I was at, I helped get over $150,000 worth of PE resources and equipment for my students. That included a Riding for Focus grant that helped me get a fleet of mountain bikes and helmets for my students. And then I got a gift sponsored by the National Foundation of Governors Fitness Councils that's led by Jake Steinfeld, and that was a $100,000 Don't Quit Fitness Center. So my big philosophy was trying to give my students the best PE experience as possible, which ultimately meant giving them as many activities and teach them as many activities as possible so they could become lifelong learners. A big portion of that dealt with heart rate monitors. I feel heart rate monitors are by far the most important thing PE teachers could utilize in their programs. Not only does it give you objective data, but it also helps motivate students, and it helps prove that your program is becoming very effective, especially when Shape America is recommending that students are moving at the MVPA level at least 50% of class time. With the Hot Tech Plus system, you are easily able to prove that you are doing that, and you are able to prove the continuous improvement that you are allowing your students to achieve throughout your PE course. Now that we have the awesome HTP home app, you are able to continue to receive data not only in class, but now you are able to get data at home, which has been absolute vital for some PE teachers. I already know that is using it in Colorado, one being my brother first and foremost. So I am just super excited to be a part of this team. My number one passion is heart rate technology, and I'd love to spread that contagiousness, I guess I would want to say, to other PE teachers so they could use this game-changing technology so they could not only improve their practice, but help students become better learners in physical education, which would also lead them to become better learners in the classroom.
Great, great, Brad. Could you share with us maybe when you saw equipment or technology that you wanted to purchase, what was your first step in going about the process?
Well, that's a good question, Rich. Definitely, I know with physical education or schools in general, funding can be very slim and tough to find. So the one piece of advice I would always say is there is definitely money out there. Don't be afraid to ask. So that all starts with your building administration. If you could prove to them that the money that they spend would be worthwhile, such as heart rate technology, you could show them the kind of data and reports that you could generate. Most schools nowadays is all about data-driven instruction, and heart rate technology is a prime example of how you could become instructing with data-based decisions with heart rate monitors. So definitely begin starting with your administration. Then, of course, there's several grants that you could look into. I recommend that you subscribe to Active Schools. They come out with monthly newsletters and bulletins every month. And in that email, there's definitely a lot of grant opportunities that would help you possibly get heart rate monitors. Another great grant opportunity that comes out every year is Action for Healthy Kids. They typically offer grants between $1,000 to $5,000 every year. And I know some teachers in the past that have used some of those funds to buy heart rate monitors. Another excellent one is Fuel Up to Play 60. That is an excellent grant opportunity that comes out every fall and spring, and you could get up to $4,000 every year to help better impact the physical activity and nutrition for your students. So definitely begin looking at grants, but definitely start with your administration. Me being at Title I schools my entire career teaching PE, Title I schools typically have more funding, which also helps get funding for your students as well.
Yeah, great, great. I think I would emphasize, along with what Brad says, in terms of if you can convince your administration that the product that you want to purchase is valuable and will be a game changer, then they'll find the money. A lot of times there's money there for in administrative accounts that it's just can be spent if you can convince them that you want to spend it on your equipment. So.
Yeah, and Rich, to piggyback on that, sometimes I feel PE teachers are kind of timid or leery about reaching out to administration. Definitely be willing to invite your administration in your classroom. If they feel that you have an open door policy and they could always come in, they would be much more up to believe in your program and be willing to give you funding. The biggest thing that I love about the Heart Tech Plus system is the projection. So the moment I got my hands on the Heart Tech Plus system, the number one advantage I feel and I love to say that we now is because I'm a part of the team, is the projection capabilities. So when I was teaching, when my administration always came down to my gymnasium, they always asked me, what is that on the wall? And that obviously sparked their interest immediately. And then I was able to see and tell them and show them that that's the students' heart rates and the kind of effort that they're giving me in class. And that typically always blew them away. And whenever they see something that cool and that interesting and that innovative, they're going to be much more likely to give you funding as well.
Great, great. I'm going to bring in Chris now and let him share a little bit about, because he's also has received a lot of grants during his teaching career, and he maybe can share a little bit about that, as well as maybe how the COVID situation is impacting his program and how he's handling all of that. So, Chris, you want to share with us a little bit?
Sure. Thank you so much, Rich, and thank you, Brad. It's hard to believe that back in March and April, we started doing a series of live streams on YouTube, and here we are 7, 8 months later. And not only are we lucky enough to now have Brad as part of the Hard Tech team and be able to help the customers that you have, and myself included as a teacher out there teaching right now, the customer support that Brad and yourself can give is unmatched. So thank you for that and making that commitment to education to bring on, the right team members that can help move the profession forward really in the direction we need to now. As far as how COVID has impacted me right now here in New York, where I am, I teach on Long Island, and my local district is back at the elementary level, full in person, full time with all the students who choose to come back. So my building in particular, out of about 310 students, has about 290 students that are back in. So we only have about 20 remote students that are still staying home on a daily basis and learning from that platform. But we do have a lot of students in, and with that comes a lot of restrictions. So, we're working our way and managing our way through that now. In the past, in my history in this district, we've had a lot of success with grants, like Brad has talked about with himself. Many years ago now, when I first started out, we were able to get PEP grant funding, which had a huge impact on our district, of course. And since then, we've gotten pieces of local grants. So where I found the most success is with my local PTA, usually turning to them or combining with them in a fundraiser will lead me to a lot of funds that I can then get my hands on and use for different, small pet projects. And one of my goals would be is to get a full brand new set of sensors that I could then turn to my fifth graders and allow them to use for an entire year. So I would like to get a new set of those, and how I'm looking to piecemeal that funding together would be through some PTA fundraising that I'm combining with a jumpathon that we're going to do, and that's going to kick off in a few weeks here. And really, I'm just going to, be able to get some of the money that they raised for the equipment that I need. We also have a local Ed Foundation grant that each year awards grants to teachers on an as needed and really a review basis. So they have a little committee that reviews all the grant suggestions that come in, and they choose which ones they want to fund. So that's another way that I hope to piecemeal that funding together in order to get the one-to-one technology as far as heart rate goes embedded in my fifth grade, because I think that's what I would need to do now. And of course, everywhere, we're such in flux. We're always constantly in a state of ready for remote learning. Although we're here in person, we're always training and preparing for the remote scenario and keeping up with those fully remote learners. So being able to transition quickly is going to be necessary, I think, in the future. So in addition to those local grants, I think Hard Tech has put together a pretty good resource that they have on their website, which just lists off by states and agencies any information that they have come across. Us as 5-Star, we're always working in the background to try and find funding, whether it be from the collegiate level or private organizations. There's many private grants out there. Many medical institutions and hospitals may have some grants that you may be able to write for or get funding through. And then I think really a lot of teachers now are turning to what would the online platform be, Brad, where you can have donors choose, I think is one platform a lot of teachers are doing. And for that, you can just simply put a project up there, and someone throughout the country could be searching for a topic that they want to give to, a cause that they think is worthy, and they might stumble across yours and fulfill that wish as the teacher. So I know my wife has done that a couple times, and through multiple donation sources has gotten a whole project funded. So, within the price range of what I'm thinking for what I need as a fifth grade, about 50 sensors, I think that, between those three local sources and maybe a GoFundMe or that Donors Choose page would be able to conclude my funding that I would need. but the bigger the project, the more funding. And I think our biggest success case that we have on our team right now would be Tony Loomis in Connecticut. And he was able to secure some ESSA funding 2 years ago in order to really embed the system in his secondary level. Of course, with COVID changing the name of the game, that has also changed the implementation path forward, I think, for anybody who is trying heart rate. So now trying to reimagine what that looks like, of pushing the new technology, not only to teachers, but then to students. And then now there's the whole parent aspect of being at home with that. So you're going to need to educate that parent up to a level of, understanding at least what their student's wearing and communicating with on a daily basis, if that's embedded in your program. So just rethinking all of those areas that we now need to cover. But if there's a lot of districts out there that have been able to get ESSA funding for this, it would fit into technology and certainly equipment, and then the professional development that you would need to piggyback on the implementation of these new teaching styles and technology tools certainly would all fall within the guidelines of any ESSA funds. So I think really the biggest thing now is, from a director level or a PE director, whatever they may call it in your district, is to really make them aware that their district should have these funds. It can be used for these instances. And if you're really looking to move it forward on a large scale, a district level, those are the kinds of ways that you can get it done faster than those local, smaller grants that I was talking about.
Yeah, Chris, we certainly are living in difficult times for education, and especially for PE teachers, I think. So that was, and I want to add that we are very fortunate to have Chris and his 5-star team, and Brad and Brian to be working with us. They bring so much to Heart Tech Plus in terms of resources for professional development, and for like I said, the testing that they've done over the past couple of years for us. And I think that with their advice and their perseverance, we were able to create a app that could be used at home, because we know that a lot of students are remote these days, or at least hybrid. So let's maybe talk a little bit about our new app and our new system, and the advantages and the strengths, and what we can offer teachers in terms of that new product. Brad, do you want to start?
Sure.
Share a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say by far and none, the biggest strength of our brand new HTP Home app is the ability to use it without a heart rate sensor. So I know I've been sending a lot of emails to potential customers inquiring about the app, and typically they inform me that they don't have enough funds to buy heart rate sensors. Totally understandable. But all you need is to just buy a web portal license, and that's approximately $750. And you can still use the app, and you could still have your students use the app without a heart rate sensor. So if users select a STEPS workout, just by carrying your phone or device around, you will still be able to calculate or record steps per minute, total steps, approximate distance, points, and MVPA. The awesome thing that we did is we created a formula and algorithm that will create the step rate into MVPA time. So pretty much if you're moving at a rate of 120 steps per minute or higher, the app will give you MVPA time. So just because you don't have a heart rate sensor doesn't mean you cannot use our app, and doesn't mean you still can't get valuable data. You could still get tons and tons of data-driven data and valuable information for you to help students learn the importance of becoming physically active. So the screen that Rich pulled up, this is the picture of the steps workout that you could use without a heart rate sensor. So that's the steps per minute tile, the steps tile, points, MVPA distance tiles, and down below you could see our 5 zones breaking up into SPMs. So SPM 3 and beyond is 120 steps per minute or higher, and that's when your MVPA timer will run. And the best thing of all is after the workout, you could tap the upload workout button and all of this data will go to your web portal, and that will allow you to generate multiple types of reports and see a lot of date range reports to see how your classes have done even without a heart rate sensor. So I think that is absolutely very valuable for teachers that may have limited funding. Of course, it's probably best to use with a heart rate sensor, but this is an excellent alternative to save funding if you still want to use our app and get great data.
And I think when you look at it from especially an elementary level where I'm coming from, I would have the parents probably download this app on their phone or device. And then anytime the student were to partake in a PE specific activity or something that they were going to call PE that I instructed them to do, they would then just use their parent's device and have it on their person as they were moving around and partaking in the activity. So I think that's a great way not only to secure it and have the parents feel secure in using it because it's on their device, it's controlled, they can see what's being recorded and what's tracked and what's not, and then, you know, simply how their child did at the end of that activity. And, you know, obviously we know the days of the pedometer, look how far we've come in the ability to just instantaneously take that data from either the iPhone or the Android device and then simply upload it to that teacher's web portal, and they would get all that data listed out as you guys described. And really those step per minute thresholds are everything that you would find in a common pedometer that was set up for MVPA. So any pedometer that produces an MVPA minute for you would be set at very similar thresholds in order for you to achieve those minutes. So it's very closely associated to heart rate, but never obviously as accurate as we can get with a 4.0 sensor.
Yeah, I think one of the strengths of the HTP system is its portal and how it collects that data in a secure way, so we don't have to worry about that. And also the ability to share information with parents, and the students themselves can log in at any time with their own username and password and view their data, and they can establish a date range report and look at what they've accomplished and be held accountable for it and really take ownership of their fitness level. So I think we have one of the best web portals for collecting metrics and sharing data with parents or guardians. So maybe you could talk a little bit about the portal, Brad, and what that has to offer a little bit more.
Yeah, sure. So I just think it's really cool now that with the home app, students or anyone of all ages can still do reports. So my brother showed me just this morning that he set a date range, and with his students engaged in remote learning, within a couple weeks of the date range report, he saw he had 296 sessions uploaded. So he knows that's very powerful and it's working. And just because his students are not in the gymnasium, he still knows some of his, or I would say most of his students are still engaging in a lot of moderate to vigorous physical activity. He's had the luxury to actually send home a sensor to all of his students, so they are wearing heart rate sensors every day. But as stated previously, just because you don't have a heart rate sensor doesn't mean you can't use our app. So we wanted to create this app for everybody, not just for a select few that might have funds. With the web portal, like Rich mentioned, the reporting features are pretty much endless. So we now have separate bar graphs depending on whether you used a heart rate monitor, those would be the zones, or whether you did a steps only workout, that's divided into the SPM bar graphs. With heart rate monitors, you're still going to be seeing a horizontal bar graph telling you, so you could visually see what your zones were throughout the entire workout. You could see your typical heart rate graph, so you could see how your heart rate was increasing, decreasing, or keeping steady throughout the workout. You're able to see the duration of the workout, how many minutes of MVPA you got, how many points you received. I think that's another huge advantage of our system. We have a point system depending on how hard you work and the training load you're putting in will give you less or more points. You're able to see how much % of MVPA you had in that lesson to see if you're meeting the Shape America's guidelines of that. You're able to see how many calories you burned and so forth. And the exact same goes with an individual workout or even a date range workout. So it's absolutely endless. The moment you hit upload workout, you could still get an emailed report. With our system, you can now have the capability of sending out reports to multiple emails. So now a user could get one, but so could the teacher if they chose, so could the parent. So that's a huge benefit as well.
And one thing we failed to mention, it is compatible with both iOS devices, Apple devices, and also Android. So we're not limited in that way. Works on both systems. Chris, what value do you see in the home system?
Well, of course, just that flexibility. We don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. At any minute, your school could then be thrust into a remote scenario, or you could be there now and be like some states that are now requiring kids to come back into school. So with that being said, the mobility of it, and if you had to have students go home immediately and they didn't have access to those sensors and you had the license, really nothing changes. Now it's just based on steps per minute and not their beats per minute, because now they're only going to have access to that app on their phone with the steps capability, because they weren't able to get those sensors from you. If they had the sensors at home, then nothing has changed. But I think most scenarios, you're probably not in a one-to-one sensor sharing scenario where the district would have one sensor for every student that would need it. So you're probably sharing them in the school capacity if you're in school now. So then either you'd have to make a decision that some kids would take them and the other kids would just be doing the steps. And I think that's going to be really unique for anybody. But being able to have that license and then choose for yourself is, to my knowledge, the only product on the market that allows you that flexibility.
Yes, and I think that what we tried to do is we tried to develop the complete system for education. So, in the past we've had the group system where, as Brad mentioned earlier, you can view the heart rate data of all the students up on a screen, and then send that data and be able to look at it in the future also. And then outside of the group system, we've also developed this home app that we just talked about. So that gives you the opportunity to, even in good times, we could still have kids do makeup classes or do exercises at home or workouts at home, so we can still track that data. And we've also added to our platform a new sensor that has three-zone lights. So if the student didn't have anything to look at in terms of a screen, they could still look at the sensor and they could see if they're in blue, then they're below the zone. If they're in green, they're in the MBPA zone. And if they're in red, then they'll mean they're above the MBPA zone, getting towards max, approaching max heart rate. So that sensor is also magnetic charging. And so it's easy to charge, much easier than past sensor. And we've also developed a new charging case. So I can pull that up and maybe show that to you right now, show what it looks like. Hang on a second, I'll pull that up.
Then as Rich is pulling that up, that charging case, it could charge up to 30 4.0s at once. I know when I was teaching, it got kind of annoying to have all the cords laying around. But now with this picture, as Rich pulled up, as you can see, there's no cords anymore, and you could charge all 30 at once. And for teachers that are traveling from place to place, it's very easy to transport now with this case. The case is very well made, very durable, and I think it's going to be a game changer for teachers that decide to use our system. It's very cost effective. We're only charging $300 for it, and I think it's worth every penny just for the convenience factor.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I think we do have the complete system for the situation we're in now, and then in the future when we get back to, hopefully soon, to normal times when we're in school all the time. So I want to thank, when I don't want to keep it too long tonight, so we're going to thank Chris and Brad for sharing with us their experiences and how they use heart rate in their programs. So we're going to be back again next week with some more guests and start doing our live YouTube streams on a regular basis. So anything you wanted to wrap up or end with, guys?
Yeah, I know. As we wrap up, just don't hesitate to ever reach out to us. So you could Rich at hearttechplus.com and or Brad at hearttechplus.com. And Chris, I don't know if you want to give out your email, but just in case not, Chris would be an excellent person to talk to as he's currently using it in the field right now. If you ever had any questions for him about how he is using it.
Sure, you could reach me at Dr. Mech at 5starpe.com. And any questions you might have, whether it be regarding grants, questions you have, sometimes we have people reach out to us. They're in the process of writing a grant. They need some help with wording, or how do they fit heart rate into this grant, because that's something they're looking for. You know, Brad is a great resource. We're a great resource for that. Any questions you have, feel free to send an email. Very simple. So thanks a lot, guys, for tonight.
Okay,
Yep, thanks
great.
everyone for their time.
Stay safe. See you soon. Take care.
Take care, Rich. Thank you.